Regular meeting of the City Council held in the Council Chambers on Thursday, May 9th, 2013 at 7 p.m. for the purpose of transacting any and all business. Notice of this meeting was posted on May 2nd, 2013 at 5:32 p.m. This meeting is being taped and is live on SATV. All councilors are present. Council President Ryan is presiding. Councilor Legault moves to dispense with the reading of the record of the previous meeting. All those in favor? Opposed? I ask everyone please rise and join Councilor Carr in the Pledge of Allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Public testimony. Looks like we have 6 people. First one on the list is Richard Stafford. Please come to the podium, name and address.
Good evening, Mr. President, members of the council. My name is Richard Stafford. I live at 30 Boardman Street in Salem, and I'd like to address the requested bond order that's going to be before you this evening for renovations to Bertram Field. This is an exciting opportunity for many of Salem's athletic teams, for its growing running community, and for the community as a whole. My memories of Bertram Field began when I was 7 years old, when I lived at the Broad Street Playground during the summer. I've seen the track evolve from a 330-yard cinder track to an undersized 370-meter synthetic track, and now Salem has the opportunity to install a regulation 6-lane, 400 meters synthetic track with facilities for all of the sports events. The current facility is insufficient for varsity competitions, it's incapable of hosting multi-school events, and it's inadequate for recognition of record performances. At the time of its most recent renovation in 1992, it was thought that due to site constraints, the cliff on one end and the rock wall on the other, that a full 400-meter track could not be designed to fit the space. However, working with the current project's designer, Chris Huntress, a full 400-meter track with 6 lanes all around and 8 lanes on the straightaway has been designed, which fits the constraints of the site with an internationally recognized and an MIAA-approved track facility. Needless to say, I'm thrilled at this opportunity. It'll also significantly enhance the playing areas for the football, soccer, lacrosse, and field hockey teams, as well as Salem's many children's sports activities. The proposed renovations will provide Salem young athletes with a track that will put them on an equal footing, and that's not a pun, with athletes from all of the other schools in our conference as well as the region. As you consider this proposal this evening, Gloucester is building a brand new artificial turf field with a 400-meter synthetic track. With your support, Salem's will be completed shortly after theirs. One of the greatest assets of a vibrant high school program is that it introduces children to what can become a lifelong program of fitness. Salem has quietly become a mecca for runners, with thousands participating in the numerous races held here throughout the year. Many of these athletes, men and women, continue to run into their 70s and 80s, and no matter at what level they compete at, most desire a legitimate 400-meter track at which to train. Within the last 3 years, the 3-hour marathon barrier for 70-year-olds was broken by a Canadian gentleman. And 2 months ago, a native of India residing in Great Britain ran his last competitive 10K race at the age of 106. He was a late bloomer. He didn't start running until he was 91. We recognize that cost is always an important consideration, but even more important is value. And with the state's injection of $400,000, this do-it-right project will be a great value for Salem. This facility will serve the next generation of Salem citizens, and I hope that you will agree they deserve a regulation facility worthy of their efforts. Thank you very much.
Next on the list is Steve Dibble.
Good evening. Good to see you all. My name is Steve Dibble, 74 Moffett Road in Salem. I didn't prepare a speech. I wanted you to get a sense of my passion for this project, the Bertram Field project I'm speaking of. I'm speaking as a former parent booster. Many of you I've seen at many games. I've sold 50-50 raffle tickets to you. I think my 3 sons played 4 years each, so a total of 12 years football in my family. Counselor, several of you would buy tickets on a regular basis, and the drive and the interest and the enthusiasm for Salem is seen at the city council, at meetings, when I see you at supermarkets, but it's really seen when the community comes together at different events. This is important not just to the student athletes, it's also important to the band members, the athletes on the field, the students up in the stands, the community as a whole. We have an opportunity to do this thing and do it right. I applaud the mayor for bringing this forward. I think it's long overdue. Let's drive it home and get it done. Tom, and I call you Tom on a regular basis, and I apologize in this meeting, but Tom would buy and sit there, buy 50/50 from me on a regular basis with smiles. He would call me up. Twice, I think it was, he won the raffle, maybe $800, $600, and every time he gave it back with pride, back to the boosters, back to the football team and other teams. Just like you guys sitting here at meeting after meeting after meeting, giving back to the town. Let's bring it forward. We just heard from Coach Stafford, and I want to talk about the passion as a parent on this. Coach Stafford does a great job. He was my oldest son's 5th grade teacher. My son still looks up to him as a wonderful teacher. When he mentions a lot of them, he talks about Dave Angeramo's staff at the high school, and he pinpoints all sorts of his favorite teachers. But it's Mr. Stafford, a great role model on the track and in the classroom that my son looks at. My youngest son had the privilege of working with Coach Lavoie, who's here. I saw him a minute ago. There he is. So we have 2 wonderful role models on boys and girls track teams. The enthusiasm's coming back on Salem track. My sons had 6 different coaches in track at Salem High. One of them went on to run track in college, another did lacrosse in college. I've seen so many high school facilities and so many college facilities. Many track meets from New Jersey through Maine, Vermont, on, chasing after my son in his track pursuits. But we got 2 great role models leading the team. I think with a new facility, done right, 400-meter track is really important so that meets are no longer canceled, or we're going to bring back enthusiasm at a high level. So you'll see more kids coming out for all these sports, more kids coming for the band because they'll want to march on a beautiful field. When you look at the GPAs of some of these teams, it's often, especially at the college level, at the college level, I'm going to guess, I have nothing to quantify this by, but I'd guess about 80% of the teams, athletic teams in colleges with the highest GPA are track teams and cross-country teams. Several years ago, actually several decades ago, we missed the opportunity because of budget constraints to not build an indoor track facility at Salem High School. And then about 15 years ago, it was one of the first things cut out of the budget again when we were renovating Salem High School. So twice, at least twice to my knowledge, indoor track was nixed because we couldn't afford it. We have an outdoor track that, when my kids, 4 years ago were running track, a couple of coaches didn't want to come to Salem. Now the track's even worse shape. I don't know if we mentioned how many track meets were canceled over the last 6 years that teams did not want to come here. It's quite a few. So pride, the band, athletes, the spectators, the whole city, Thanksgiving Day and other days, you'll see more people going to beautiful Bertram Field. Again, I'd like to thank the mayor for submitting this for your consideration. We got one chance to do it right, because if we don't do it now, we're not going to do it 10 years from now, 20 years from now. It's going to just kind of be impossible. One chance to do it right. 400-meter track. I think the track, the rubberized surfacing, is, in my opinion, more important than the synthetic grass on the inside. Okay? For a living, I pour rubber. I'm not going to be bidding on this project, but I pour rubber just like on the synthetic rubber on the track, and I put AstroTurf type material underneath playgrounds, both of them underneath playgrounds. This is the right thing to do. I've reviewed the preliminary plans. I like them a lot. I'd like to ask the mayor so I can take a look at the final plans as well, see if we could tweak things. I've asked our fine principal, who's a longtime friend of mine. He used to work for me when he was about this big, when he was about 14 years old. Wonderful principal we have, so great leadership. I've asked him to have every single coach and the band who will utilize the facility take a fast look at the plans and make sure that we're not missing anything that would help their programs be stronger. whether it's field hockey or soccer or on and on. The right types of nets, the right locations. The field is in the right location in the middle. So again, I thank the mayor for presenting this. Thank you for your time before you, and I hopefully will look forward to thanking you if we can afford to do it with your vote in support of a 400-meter track at Bertram.
Thank you. Next up is Arthur Sullivan III.
Good evening, Council President, members of the council, community members. My name is Arthur Sullivan. I reside at 17 Moffett Road. I am here also to talk in support of the bond issue for Bertram Field. This is a great opportunity, not only for the high school programs and the running program that you've heard, but the Salem Youth Lacrosse program, up until this year, did not have a home. We actually at times had to go play our home games out of town because for lack of space or availability. With the Bertram Field coming under the jurisdiction of the Parks and Recreation Department this year, and working with Karen, we've been able to find a home for our home games this year. Okay, so by developing this facility, it's not just for the high school; it's for all the entire community. It's for the young students that we teach, the young players, sportsmanship, health, fitness, well-being. A lot of our players are now graduating out of our program and now becoming high school players, helping the Salem high school programs to develop in football, lacrosse, soccer. This is where the future of this community is. This is where our leaders are going to be coming from, our programs like this. But you also can develop other programs, walking programs, fitness programs, activity programs. This could be a facility that not only could be used just for the youth and the athletes, but they could be used just for anyone who just wants to go walk a mile. I want to give you support for this project. I hope that you'll be able to vote for it. It's a great opportunity to do it right, do it once, and do it something that's going to last. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. Next, I have Charles O'Donnell.
Hello, I'm Charlie O'Donnell. I live at 18 Buchanan Road. Thanks a lot for this opportunity to speak about the proposal to upgrade the football field and the track. As a lifelong resident of Salem, I've watched many football, soccer, and track events at Bertram Field. It really is a great sports facility to watch an event, and with the installation of a synthetic track and a synthetic field and improvement to the track, it'll be great for the athletes also. The expansion of the track to make it a regulation size is really long overdue. I do not know the history of why the track was not built to regulation, but I could not imagine another sport played on a court or a field that was not built to standard dimensions. I remember officials explaining to first-time athletes on the track, like freshman Shalane Flanagan from Marblehead, the official telling her, you'll run a quarter lap to the start line, and then you'll run 4 laps to finish your mile. And the look on her face as the official's explaining why she had to run 4 1/4 laps was pretty surprising. Due to this type of problem, Salem cannot host any major track events. Imagine the benefits to the athletes, the businesses, and the city of Salem if we could host a track meet like we do for the state wrestling matches and the basketball playoffs. My daughter Christine, who ran track and played soccer at Bertram Field, now lives in Burlington, Vermont, which I looked up the population, surprisingly is 42,000 in 2010, compared to Salem was 41,000. Her husband is the track coach at Burlington High. In 2008, the city of Burlington invested $4.5 million in the renovation project. They now host 2 to 3 meets a year. The most recent meet, the Burlington Invitational Meet, had 800 athletes from 32 teams. The school received $4,000 from gate receipts, $2,000 profit from the concession stand, $1,500 from T-shirt sales, and $600 from sponsorships from local businesses. The events are obviously a source of pride for the school. The Burlington track team has been host for 6 state and 2 New England meets. And if you've ever gone to a New England meet, it really attracts so many people, visitors, along with the athletes, that it really helps the business in the city. The money raised at a concession stand for this type of meet would allow the Salem athletes to pay for their warm-ups, banquet, and trips to the New England's or national track meets. Unlike other sports, running is a lifelong passion for many people, like Richard Stafford was saying, and I'm waiting to see him run at 100 the mile. To Take a look at the number of races that Doug Bolin has started and how popular they are. And my children, you know, when they come back from school, would always train at the high school and see a lot of friends up there. And I know my son Patrick sent you all an email when he ran for Salem High in Miami. He had to go to Bishop Fenwick to train because the corners of the track were too tight, and the coach was concerned of him getting injuries in his training. Let's put all Salem High coaches on an equal footing with other high schools by building a state-of-the-art facility. Bishop Fenwick, along with so many other local high schools, invested in their outdoor facilities. And if you think of it, if Shalane was in the middle school of Salem right now, where do you think she would go to school next year? Wouldn't we want her to come to Salem High? Let's keep the next great track stars like Craig Mielkars in our school system. I've always believed that the sports is a strong motivator for the students to do well in the classroom. Remaining academically eligible to participate in sports is important to many athletes, and that's the motivation to stay on the team and do well in class. So this is one opportunity to make the football, soccer, field hockey, lacrosse, and track facilities a real source of pride for everyone in Salem, and especially for our student athletes. So thank you.
Thank you. Next is Craig Milkhouse.
Good evening, Craig Mielkars, 2 Beckford Street, Salem, Mass. My concern tonight, like those before me, is making sure the Bertram Field gets upgraded to a regulation track. I'm a member of the Salem High School class of '99. I ran indoor and outdoor track for all 4 years. So I know very well the difficulty that today's student athletes face trying to prepare to compete with no indoor facilities and substandard outdoor facilities. During my career, I was fortunate to win multiple Massachusetts and New England championships and even a national championship. And for those accomplishments, I was honored to be inducted into the Salem High School Athletics Hall of Fame. A few years ago, during my induction speech for the ceremony, I spoke about how thankful I was to grow up in Salem. Thankful that to live in a community, such a tight-knit community, where everybody knows each other, cares about the welfare of others, and takes advantage of opportunities to invest in projects like this. I spoke of how I had left Salem for a time and lived in places where the sense of community didn't exist. They're places where people just live for a while, go about their business, and move on. I always knew if it came time to get married and start a family, that Salem is where I'd want to do it. To that end, my wife and I are now homeowners in Salem, Ward 2 to be specific. These are the types of projects that I want my property taxes going towards. I'm here to make sure that my daughter, now 2.5 weeks old, can enjoy better facilities 14 years from now than I did 14 years ago. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is TC Riley Goggin.
T.C. Riley Goggin, 9 Wisteria Street. I agree with everything that everyone before me has said. To the young athletes here on both sides, I applaud you. I spent a great deal of my years when I was at Salem High School on or around Bertram Field. I was also an athlete. But because I look at it and say I have a pair of sneakers and a basketball, build me a basketball court. I have a couple of bathing suits and I can swim, so build me a swimming pool. What I really am questioning here, and first of all, I want to applaud the mayor because I know she's going after funding from the Mass School of Financing for the Title IX, which will make vast improvements for our athletes at Salem High School. But what I do question here tonight is the funding, the bonding, the $1.9 million. I'm not quite sure exactly where that is going to come from. But I know other communities, they had giant fundraising that they did for this. I think the idea of a turf field is excellent, but I also know that usually it's about 10 years and then it needs work. The idea of having an international type of running track for our athletes is great. But to you, sitting right here tonight, with the economy the way it is, I ask you to really and truly think if there is not another way to add to this $1.9 million. We received $400,000, which is approximately about 22% of what the finances, I believe, that's going to be spent for this great project. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Hearings, none. Appointments and reappointments.
Health
from the last meeting, the mayor's appointment of Linda Cockle to the Council on Aging with a term to expire April 25th, 2016.
We're gonna hold that because she cannot make this meeting, so we'll hold this till the next meeting. All right, further appointments and reappointments?
Held from the last meeting, the mayor's appointment of Jane Terrio to the Historical Commission as an alternate with a term to expire April 25th, 2014.
Councilor McCarthy?
Thank you, Mr. President. I rise to support the nomination of Ms. Turiel, and I move for confirmation by roll call vote.
Councilor McCarthy moves for confirmation by roll call vote. Any discussion?
Thank you, Mr. President. I rise on behalf of my colleague to my right who can't rise because it would be deemed a conflict that he would appoint his wife to a commission, so I do it on his behalf as well as for the city. I want to thank the mayor for this appointment. I have got to know Jane over the last few years from being at school, but looking at her resume and from her cover letter, Ms. Turiel has been an active member of the Absecon Historical Society in her home, Absecon, thank you. Historical Society in her hometown of New Jersey, and she's still a member of that Historical Society today. She brings a wealth of knowledge of dealing with Historical Society issues, and she has been highly sensitive to those types of issues throughout her life, so I would recommend her approval.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Councilor Terrell, you don't want to say anything for your wife? All right, Madam City Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilor Terrio?
Abstain.
Pardon me?
Present.
Councilor Sosnowski?
Yes.
Councilor Siegel?
Yes.
Councilor Sargent?
Yes.
Councilor Prevey?
Yes.
Councilor McCarthy?
Yes.
Councilor Legault?
Yes.
Councilor O'Keefe?
Yes.
Councilor Fury?
Yes.
Councilor Carr?
Yes.
Councilor Ryan?
Yes. Thank you. On the appointment of Jane Turiel to the Historical Commission as an alternate, 11 councilors voting, 10 in the affirmative, 1 present. The matter carries. Councilor McCarthy?
Thank you, Mr. President. I would move to suspend the rules to allow Ms. Turiel to address the council if she so desires.
Any objection? Ms. Turiel, would you like to the podium?
I would like to thank Mayor Driscoll and the council, except my husband, who couldn't vote, for this great opportunity to give back to this great city. And I know I'm really, really going to enjoy it. My mother and father donated a building in my hometown. It's named Hallett Hall, and I am a member of their historical society, and I can't wait to be a member here. So thank you very, very much. Thanks.
Thank you. Further appointments and reappointments?
We have the mayor's appointment of Gina Flynn to the licensing board with a term to expire June 1st, 2016.
Councilor O'Keefe, can you take the?
Recognize Councilor Ward 4, Jerry Ryan. Councilor Ryan.
I'm asking for suspension. Normally we hold these over, but I'm asking for suspension of the rules because Mrs. Flynn is here today. So if there's no objection, I'm asking.
All in
for
favor of
suspension
suspending the rules to allow for the confirmation of Janet Flynn? Councilor Butler. Councilor Butler.
I move for
Councilor
confirmation
Bryan.
by roll call vote.
Yes, sir. Confirmation by roll call.
On the discussion.
Discussion of the
Yep.
recommendation?
Mrs. Flynn works for Easton Bank. I work for Easton Insurance. We're same Easton Bank. She's a resident of Buena Vista Ave. She's lived in Salem for the last 30 years and has raised 3 children. She's the branch manager at Washington Street here at Easton Bank, and she also volunteers at Salem Chamber of Commerce, North Shore Chamber of Commerce, Salem Main Street, and deeply committed to the community and wants to see businesses thrive and succeed and keep what's going on, keep it going. So being the ward councilor, I support her appointment to this board, and hopefully it passes. Thank you.
Any other member of the city council wish to speak on this matter? Hearing none, the clerk will call the roll. Confirmation.
Actually,
Oh, Councilor Siegel.
that's Joe. Thank you, Mr. President. I don't know Mrs. Flynn personally. I'm sure she's a wonderful person. I think she'd do a great job. My only concern is looking through the Mass General laws.
I believe the licensing board is regulated under Mass General Laws 138, and I think we may need to have the city solicitor take a look at MGL 138 to make sure we're in compliance. The licensing board isn't regulated under the city charter, so that makes it under Mass General Laws, Section 138. And according to that, and I don't know what Ms. Flynn's political party is, but according to, and I'll read Section 4 here, in each city which is not exempt by the provision of Section 10, there shall be a licensing board appointed by the mayor, subject to confirmation by the city council. If there is no such board, the city council consists of 3 persons who shall not be engaged directly or indirectly in the manufacture or sale of alcoholic beverages, who've been residents of the city in which they are appointed for at least 2 years immediately preceding the appointment. 1 member shall be appointed from each of the 2 leading political parties, and the 3rd member may also be appointed from one said party. I don't know, again, the party affiliation of the members on the licensing board, but I think it's something we need to look into, because if this is the Mass General Laws, we need to follow the state laws.
So you're making a recommendation then this be held over?
I am making a recommendation, it's held over.
Then you're
for this-
objecting to the suspension of the rules? That's how you'd have to handle this?
That's fine, I'm objecting.
Then you object to suspension of the rules and hold this over?
For the city solicitor to look into this.
All right. Any other remarks? Councilor Ryan?
I mean,
Mark,
that's fine.
joined it?
We can wait. You just have to come back, but I mean.
Do you have no opposition?
No opposition. I
All
mean,
right.
we have to double check and make sure it's legal,
All right.
so.
All in favor of holding over the next regular meeting of the city council? All in favor? Opposed?
Opposed.
Clerk will call the roll.
Why is that?
Why?
Unless it's out to vote, who's in favor of holding it over? How many, hands up? How many hands up? 1, 2,
All it took was one
Um,
suspension
three?
anyway. It's held by the rules.
Mr. President.
yes, sir. Councilor Sosnowski, Councilor Ryan spoke already.
Under
Go
the
ahead.
rules, whether I agree or disagree with what's going on, under the rules, when someone objects to a suspension of the rules,
It's automatically
debate
go
is
over. Correct.
Yeah, so there's no vote.
All right.
No vote.
Move the question. Councilor Ryan, want to come back up here?
Yeah, I'll come back.
All right, thank you.
That worked.
Further appointments and reappointments.
Wow.
Mayor's reappointment of Dale Yale to serve as a member of the planning board with a term to expire May 1st, 2018.
I thought Mayflower Lane, is that Counselor Siegel?
This is actually my yes.
What?
Is Mr. Yale here, or? how we did
No,
it?
she doesn't have to be here. We already appointed, it's a reappointment.
Oh, then
Confirmation by roll call vote.
confirmation by roll call vote.
On the mayor's reappointment, Dale Yale, confirmation by roll call vote. Any discussion?
No.
Madam City Clerk, please call the roll.
Counselor Turiel?
Yes.
Counselor Sosnowski?
Yes.
Counselor Siegel?
Yes.
Counselor Sargent?
Yes.
Counselor Previtt?
Yes.
Counselor McCarthy?
Yes.
Counselor Legault?
Yes.
Counselor O'Keefe?
Yes.
Counselor Fury?
Yes.
Counselor Carr?
Yes.
And Counselor Ryan?
Yes. On the reappointment of Dale Yale to the planning board, 11 councilors voting, 11 in the affirmative. The matter carries. Further appointments and reappointments.
We have the mayor's reappointment of the following to serve as constables with the following terms to expire. Donald Blakely, June 29, 2016. Ryan Crowe, May 1st, 2016. Fernando Villado, May 2nd, 2016.
Council Sosnowski.
Thank you, Mr. President. Move that these matters be received and placed on file.
Council Sosnowski moves received and placed on file. All those in favor? Opposed? Moved. Communications from the mayor.
We have a bond order, the sum of $1,900,000 to be appropriated to pay for Bertram Field renovation project.
Councilor Prevey.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move for suspension of the rules.
Councilor Prevey moves suspension of the rule. Any objection? None being. Councilor Prevey.
I move for adoption, first passage by roll call vote.
All right. Under discussion?
On discussion, when the meeting started this evening, Mr. President, you heard from many people in the community who had their own experiences growing up using Bertram Field and some of the inadequacies of it in comparison to other fields in other communities. And I certainly appreciate the mayor bringing this forward and us really getting serious about fixing Bertram Field and making it a real first-class facility that we can use for everyone in Salem. So this is certainly our opportunity to do that. I'd also move for suspension of the rules, obviously, probably at this point, if the mayor wants to address the council. We have, obviously, Lynn Duncan's here as well, the finance director, and other people that probably want to address the specifics of the proposal, as well as answer our questions.
Okay.
Thank you.
No objection, Madam Mayor?
Thank you, members of the council, for your willingness to take this project up and hopefully provide first passage this evening. This is a tight timeline, given that we'd like to use the facility this fall. So we thought we'd go through a really brief PowerPoint presentation just to give you an outline. Many of you have been at the public meetings, are familiar with the project. We had some initial presentations back when we came in and received the acceptance for the park grant that we received. But just thought we would try and run through some more of the details, where things stand today, and what we're hoping to accomplish over the course of the next few weeks. So if we take a look at just the process to date and what's ahead. Oh, I'm sorry, let me start out with the Bertram Field. Right ahead, go right ahead, Christian, thank you. One of the things that we found most interesting, and I think is not lost on us, is just Bertram Field, and wanted to recognize the namesake where Bertram Field comes from. It's not unusual that Salem has an outstanding history, but Mr. Bertram in particular needed to be recognized for how much his family did to John Bertram to not only provide the city with this facility, but many, many others. Both the Salem Public Library, currently used, was a gift of the Bertram family. The first hospital, Salem Hospital, endowed by Mr. Bertram, 2 nursing homes, and Plummer Home, all hail from the Bertram family. Amazing gifts to our community that still stand to this day, and I think certainly a fitting honor that we name this current facility after him. And I think lucky to have families like the Bertram family willing to provide a facility that has so much, houses so much, the field house, the track, the facilities that are there in one location. In terms of the process to date, we were here earlier this year to accept the $400,000 park grant, and real kudos to the planning department. I think every year for the last 3 or 4 years we've received a park grant, so both Lynn, Tom Devine, who was the chief preparer of this grant, hats off in terms of keeping us competitive, and certainly to the administration, both the governor and the lieutenant governor have taken a real interest in trying to provide quality spaces in cities, and we've benefited from that. It is a tight timeline, as you can see. We are trying to keep things moving so that we can have this project up and running for the fall sports schedule, and that's one of the reasons we're hoping for first passage this evening. Next up, we wanted to give you a bird's eye look at some of the current conditions of the facility. These pictures are probably the best pictures we have. I said it doesn't look as bad as it is when you're actually out there. If you've been out, many of you may have seen the actual track. It's in really rough shape. The field itself, I think the next slide's even a little bit better in terms of showing, not untypical for a grass field to sort of be worn out. The track is definitely in need of a complete overhaul. It's not something that you could just put a Band-Aid on. It really needs to be completely done over. And initially, I think we were certainly thinking of this project as the current field, the existing track, but as we got through this process and started to hear from more people and really understood the need for the regulation-sized track, it became more and more apparent that we wanted to do this once and do it right. And the best way to accommodate that was to extend the track so we could not just have a new place for folks to run, but have it be of adequate size. Another problem we have, if you go to the next slide with the current condition, is just how wet the seasons are and how this particular facility drains, and what happens that even when it's could be a very nice day, if it's rained the day before, we're not able to use the facility. And oftentimes the folks who pay that price are just the community and sports groups. And we want to, Paul LaRue does a great job of getting the field ready for games, making sure it's in its best shape possible, which sometimes means we have to say no on those off days, so it's in great shape when the sports teams are ready to use it. So what we're talking about doing, next slide gives you a pretty good idea. Colors are a little off on this, but it gives you a pretty good idea of what we're hoping to accomplish. Expanding the track by 30 meters to regulation size. The grass will be replaced with the synthetic turf. There's some general field upgrades. The flagpole, the scoreboard are included. And we are hoping to accommodate the visitor bleachers as well, and we'll talk a little bit more about that. Next slide. This gives you a better idea of what we're hoping the final product will look like. And obviously taking into account Salem High colors and trying to make this a special facility and something that our entire community can be proud of, but certainly for the high school sports teams that play there. One issue I want to point out as we get to a slide you can't possibly read is related to the pricing. And we'll certainly provide the council with all of this and look forward to more detailed discussions if, in the event that they're necessary. This is an outline, a pro forma, and we've got a pretty good working group with folks from the high school, Mr. LaRue, member of the school committee, our planning staff, and Chris Huntress from Huntress Design, who's the consultant working with us, who are reviewing all the items and cost estimates. One issue that we run into when we want to enlarge the track to regulation size is the need to relocate the visitor stands. Initially, that number was pegged at around $65,000 to remove them. We're starting to get harder estimates that indicate it could be substantially more than that. Right now, we have $65,000 plugged into the project pro forma at the $1.9 million. If in fact the numbers come in much higher than that, we don't want to jeopardize the whole project. So we are including the relocation of the visitor stands, but it won't be in the base project, it will be in an alternate. It'll be the first alternate and the only alternate, with the idea being that we don't want to hold up the whole project. We don't have the ability to negotiate with a bid. Whatever's in that base bid, we either have to say yay or nay to. And if we include relocation of the visitor stands and it ends up being a couple $100,000 more, we'll be well over budget for the whole project. So the idea at this point is let's get the base completely in the budget. That's completely in the budget, and then take a look at what the add alternates are. When we go out to bid, we'll have a much better handle on if this is going to be a problem, how big or how little, because we'll be dealing with real numbers. Right now, we're dealing with estimates. There might be contractors that want to sharpen their pencil, and our field estimate will come in lower. There might be an opportunity to actually fit everything in, well under this number. It might come back slightly over, but we don't know for sure until we put things out to bid, and we'll know that early in June. Next up, it just helps answer the why a little bit. Synthetic turf has become the norm. We're seeing all of those schools on the left, many of which we play, either have turf or are in the process of doing a turf field right now. Is actually in Gloucester for a meeting last week, and their field is coming together amazing. They've started construction. They'll have turf set up for next fall, and that list just continues to grow, primarily because you can just use it so much. Many of the denser urban communities are finding that these fields can be used over and over and over again, which means youth sports, members of the public, the sports teams. We have both male and female teams, varsities and JV, sometimes even freshmen, a lot of usage, and obviously having the turf means you can use it virtually 24/7 if you need to. Next up, just trying to get a handle on some of the savings. On average, what we've learned is that if you have a high school grass field of the size of ours, it usually would cost around $20,000 a year to maintain that grass field. Frankly, we spend less than that, and I think some of that is budgetary constraints, that we're not able to do some of the things that other communities do, whether it's slice seeding and aerating and prescription turf projects and things like that. And you see it takes a toll on the field itself. But we're hoping that if we were to spend what we really needed to spend on the grass field, you'd probably look at around $20,000 a year in savings. In terms of cost to the city, so the total bond cost is $1.9 million. We won't go out to bond for that amount because we'll get the part grant, but we do need to be able to award the contract. The state grant is a reimbursement grant. For those of you who have been on the council for the other ones, we ask for the full project amount so we can award the contract. The state reimburses us in one lump sum when the project is completed. So what we'll actually bond for is $1.5 million, a little over just incorporating the design costs. I should point out that we're in really good shape when it comes to bonding. One, we've got a solid bond rating. It's been upgraded at least twice since I've been here, and right now we're at A+ with S&P, which means we get a lower interest rates. Some of the rates we've been looking at were under 3% over the last several years. We've refinanced a lot of our debt, and we'll go through the debt schedule to give you an idea where we're at there. And how we've gone about handling our capital needs. As the council knows, and I think a great deal of credit is due to the council and the way we've worked together to make sure that we're not overspending when it comes to capital. Our current, if you look at what our current percentage of debt limit to the taxable, what we call our taxable property valuations, it's less than 1.5%. DOR sets a cap at 5%. More important for me, the number I tend to look at is what GFOA's best practices are. That's the Government Finance Officers Association. And that's about, you don't want more than 5% of your operating budget to be going towards long-term debt and debt service. And we'll talk about what that number is in the next slide. But the good news is we're not expending ourselves in terms of capital needs. And that puts us in a good position not only to do this project, but also frankly to meet some of the other projects we have, and you have them in your capital improvement plan that was submitted with this project, with this week's agenda. So current debt service over the next 20 years, a little hard to read just because of the size, but I think it's important to note. For fiscal year 14, we're projecting about $5.2 million. Remember, we have a $135 million operating budget, so we're well below the 3 to 5% that I mentioned from GFOA. A lot of that debt is coming off. You'll see that number declining. So next year in 2015, we're down to 4.5. Which is less than a $700,000 reduction. You see it goes down about $100,000 a year and then drops a couple of $100,000. That's on existing debt that we have plugged into our bond schedule. So that doesn't include, for instance, what we just bonded for, Canal Street. It doesn't include what we've got in for a CIP, which is about $2.5 million. Some of that's roads, some of that's capital projects that we have, police cars. As you know, anything over $25,000 that has a life of more than 5 years qualifies as capital. And we do a lot of financial forecasting to understand what our capital needs are, so we know what we're going to be facing over the course of not just 1 year, but over a 3 to 5 year period of time. So what you'll notice from this debt schedule is we have declining debt. This factors in a number of the areas that we know we're going to have to fund. And for next year, as we think about next year's budget, even though it's not before you yet, it will be shortly, we would expect in fiscal year 15 we'd be adding somewhere around $500,000 between Canal Street, Bertram, some of the projects we have coming in, the run-of-the-mill capital, as I like to call it, with respect to cars and equipment. And we're essentially taking off $700,000 the next year. So we're still going to be in a position where we're not having a debt service that is such a heavy burden that it's starting to impact our operational costs and our ability to do the things that we need to do every day. I won't do any more budget geek talk for you. I'll move on. Debt service on the $1.5 million. Again, we won't be bonding for 1.9. We'll be bonding for $1.5 million. It's about $135,000 a year. And like your mortgage, it declines every year. So we'll continue to see that decrease. Again, we're well below any of the DOR recommendations or the GFOA best practices. And I think we've got a conservative estimate at 4%. I'd hope that we might be able to get something a little lower if we play our cards right. And that's just an idea of what that field can look like in September of 2013. If we can certainly move this project forward. A lot of good reasons to do it relative to long-term need, and I do think it's affordable. I think we all pride ourselves on the ability to manage the city's finances and manage them well. And one of the reasons that we say no so often to things and try and save money on things like health insurance and do our best to be efficient in delivering services is so that we can expend on the projects that are important and will serve us now and for many generations to come. Certainly happy to take any questions. Tom Devine is here, Lynn Duncan is here on some of the specifics, but wanted to share with you at least a brief synopsis of information as we work to get first passage this evening on this project.
I just had one question while I was sitting there. Does Salem State, do they have a track, outdoor track?
Salem State used to have an outdoor track at the O'Keefe Center. They don't, and I don't believe they have a track team anymore. That was one of the programs that was cut. I'm correct on that? I see, yeah. So they do not have a track or a team, and maybe there's an opportunity for them to revisit that. They do have 2 turf fields, though, one at O'Keefe Center and the new baseball field at Central Campus.
Yeah, that would be something down the road to think, getting Salem State involved to maybe bring this cost down, share it somehow. But
well, it certainly was a painful decision, I know, when they let go of both track and cross-country. And I don't know if they have an interest in restarting it. I know for them to start new sports programs, it has to start out at a club, and there's a sort of a long-waited process. So it's worthwhile a conversation, but I don't think we could count on it.
Right now, no.
Yeah.
Okay. Any councilors have any questions? No questions?
Great. I would remind the council, I think many folks know, it does require 2 passages. In order to meet this timeline, we're hoping to have second passage prior to the end of the month. It does take 8 votes, as you know, for a bond. A 2/3 majority is required. So if we can pass it this evening, we could hopefully take it up again at your second meeting this month without the need for a special. That was at least the way we were thinking about it. So, thank you.
Oh, Councilor O'Keefe.
Thank you, Mr. President. Members of the City Council, I think this is, to me personally, and to people in the audience, is very important. I never went to Salem High School. I went to a Brooker School in Lynn, and I keep being reminded of that all the time. But my brother played on the football team. Younger brother played on the football team at Salem High School. 5 of our sons played on the football team. 2 of them were Globe All-Stars. And ironically, I have a little 7-year-old redhead that's now on the Salem Witches, and he played. I went up there last fall, one of his games. So This is a tremendous thing that we're going to do tonight, and I wholeheartedly support it. And I'd just like to mention Richie Stafford and then Gary LaVoy too, the coach of the boys and the girls. Richie tells me he's been running since he's 14. I can recall when he graduated from Princeton, he came and he was Mayor Zoll's administrative assistant, a position held by Dominic Pangallo now. But he came to the city about 21 years old from Princeton, actually served in the school committee with me, with both of us in our younger years, and went on to be a teacher. And I value his friendship. And Gary, too, played football with all my kids. But it's time to do something like this for the young ladies who play there. Well, I forgot to mention one of my granddaughters was on the varsity soccer team, too. But these are all the runners here, but they're on the varsity soccer team. This is a great thing. Mayor, I applaud you what you've done for the youngsters of Salem in the future, and it means something that we can go forward and provide some education, especially for the runners. But I applaud you and your administration, especially Tom Devine and Lynn Duncan for all the work that they did, they put into this thing, and I'm sure under Mr. Kapowski's keen eye, it will be done right. Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you, Mayor.
Who's Grabowski? Councilor Fieri.
Mr. President, fellow members, I had the privilege and pleasure of serving on the school committee back when the old stands were torn down. The old concrete stands were made during the Works Progress administration under Franklin Roosevelt. And I had that privilege to have them torn down. Then I had the privilege and pleasure of leading the drive for lights at Bertram Field to make it a field of dreams under lights. And now tonight we have the opportunity to make Bertram Field the 21st century field of dreams for all this young generation coming up here in the chambers and for future. I remember watching Richie Stafford as a student running, as a coach. I remember seeing the golden years of Craig Milcott's running for Salem. Golden years, Craig. Golden for Christine O'Donnell, for Patrick O'Donnell. A field of dreams. And this is just an investment to the future. The first vote tonight. So I'm very excited to see all of you here. Thank you very much for coming out, making the time and commitment. And Bertram Field will be a better place. Thank you very much for attending.
Councilor Sosnowski.
Thank you, Mr. President. Yeah, I too rise. I'm going to be supporting this totally. But I also would ask for a further suspension of the rules because I believe Dave Angiaramo, where are you, Dave? He would like to address the council as well. But one of the points that has been missed here is Richie forgot to tell you that he and I both did track together when we were kids there. And all my kids have been there. As a matter of fact, my son went to school with Dave, right? And I think they were on a lot of things together as well. So there's a lot of history here. So it's really nice, and it's a good thing. But Dave would like to speak and address the council.
All right. Go ahead. Yeah, you can come on.
Thank you. I appreciate the opportunity to speak before you tonight. I'm David Angiaramo, 27 Outlook Ave. I also spend almost as much time at 77 Wilson Street as principal of Salem High School.
That's your residence.
You've heard from many people tonight. I'm not going to reiterate the same points. This is a great opportunity for the city of Salem, as well as Salem High School and the student athletes there, to renovate Bertram Field. It's something I certainly am behind 100%, and I encourage you all to vote for that tonight. I do want to bring up one situation that the mayor alluded to in the PowerPoint. Just the details will be worked out, hopefully after the bond is passed. But the removal of the visitor bleachers. Originally that was in the project. Now it is an ad alternate. And I just want to encourage all of us as we move forward to try to find a way to make sure that those are still in the project. As the principal of the high school, I can tell you that there are many, many advantages to having bleachers on both sides. There are certainly events like the Thanksgiving football game, the girls' football game that we do annually, hopefully the large track meets that we're talking about, where you would need the capacity of 2 sets of bleachers to do that. And even when you do not need the capacity of both sides, having a home and visitor bleachers have an advantage for a safer environment and also a better climate for the spectators, whether they be parents, community members, students, etc. So again, I wholeheartedly am behind the project. I encourage you to do the same, but I wanted to publicly state the need to try to really do this the right way. This is our opportunity to make sure we get everything that the students and the citizens of Salem should have. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Carr.
Thank you, Mr. President. I too rise in support of this project tonight. I think that both Steve Dibble and Richie Stafford hit the point home early in their remarks when they said this is just a real exciting opportunity. For years, Bertram Field has been underutilized for a variety of reasons, whether it's just a wet field or just too much damage would come to the field from high school athletic use that the other residents in the city weren't able to use it. From the time that I came onto the school committee, one of the first questions I asked the mayor is, what types of opportunities can we pursue to move forward on a turf field? At that time, I thought that the likelihood it would take a long time, which it has. I didn't think that we would have an opportunity to redo the track as well. And the fact that this is possible, I think, makes the timing perfect. I think we should take advantage of this opportunity. And I also find it fitting, a lot's been made of this year that Ken Perone has been inducted into the Salem High School Hall of Fame, but another person that's deservedly being inducted into the Salem High School Hall of Fame this year is Connie Cran, a good friend of my grandfather, and who the track at the high school is named after. It's fitting that in this year that Connie Cran is being inducted to the Salem High School Hall of Fame. We should undertake both the synthetic turf field, but also the track itself. I think that we should approve it on first passage tonight to allow us to keep the construction schedule so that it can be ready for this upcoming year. And those are my comments. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor McCarthy.
Thank you, Mr. President. I too want to rise in support as being for all clarify, being the parent of 2 student athletes at Salem High School. And I can honestly say Dave Angiaramo does spend more time than anybody there, but I think I'm somewhere close behind him because it seems like I should be getting a cot up there, the amount of times I have to run up there to get the kids from something. I just want to say Coach Lavoie is a great coach. I've known Richie Stafford for a long time. He's a great coach. They do wonders. We could speak at length about the need for this, but I'm going to keep my remarks brief because I also know all these young ladies have to go home and do some homework. So they want to make sure we get this thing done right because I know my son's watching and telling me, Dad, stop talking. So I'm going to stop talking. I just want to say for the record, I've had the privilege of attending numerous events at our facilities and throughout the Northeast Conference by going to watch my kids. My youngest play football, basketball, and my oldest run track, cross country, and track. And I will say that Salem's facilities do need this upgrade. They're far under. When you look at some of the other facilities, the statements made earlier are correct. Last year, I went to a home track meet for the first time. It was the only home track meet, and the only reason it was the home track meet is because the other team couldn't use their track on that day, so they decided it would be okay to come. No one wants to come run on that track. No one wants to come there. I know there's some fabulous student athletes, some runners that would love, that are really up there at the state level running some real great times, that would love to run and hold a record on a Salem High School track, and I think we owe it to them to make sure that those people get recognized, and for all the groups that are going to use this field. I think it's great, so thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Legault.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just want to say directly that this is long overdue. There have been opportunities in the past where we could have done some work on that track, done it right, extended it. We've never done it. If we'd have done that 30 years ago, it wouldn't be costing $1.5 million or $1.9 million. If we'd have done it 20 years ago, 10 years ago, it wouldn't be costing the types of numbers that we're looking at now. If we don't do it this year, then when are we going to do it? 10 years from now, 20 years from now? It's going to cost us even more, or maybe we're never going to do it and we're not going to have a track program. Track program is very inclusive of a lot of kids that aren't big or strong or fast enough to play football or basketball or some of these other sports. It's also inclusive, like all the other sports, of some of the borderline students. By providing these programs, by providing a big track, we're giving kids that maybe otherwise wouldn't be staying in high school. Maybe they're just barely making it academically. There's a lot of those kids. That group in the middle are larger than the elite group and the bottom group. They're the ones we're trying to hang on to. By providing them with these options athletically, whether it be lacrosse, whether it be soccer, whether it be football or track, we're giving these kids a chance to excel at something, to participate in something, and track is probably the most inclusive of all of the sports. Everybody gets a chance to run or to throw or to jump. Those are the kids that I worry about in our school system every day, and this is a good way to provide those kids with a venue, with an opportunity to excel at something, to enjoy going to school, to have something to look forward to, and maybe to help them graduate in the end. I ran on that track back in the day, as did some other people in this room, and I really think it's kind of embarrassing that our kids are still running on that monstrosity. It was horrible in 1977 when I was a skinny kid with long hair, and it's horrible now.
Yeah.
And I helped out Coach Stafford and Coach Lavoie last year with the spring track team. I want to apologize to these young ladies over here. I hope that they're not traumatized by hearing my voice again, because I was usually pretty loud and pretty aggressive and yelling at them as they were running and throwing. And I hope you girls are able to sleep tonight after hearing my voice. I support this wholeheartedly. It's time, it's long overdue, And I hope that my fellow councilors support this.
Ariel.
Thank you, Mr. President. I saw when this project first started as a simple turf replacement, and I remember the discussions we had back then. We were talking about turning it over and changing control of it. And to do this, I'm really glad. I expected at the time that this issue would wind up being addressed. I'm really grateful that it is being addressed. It's a chance to really do something that is, as most of my colleagues here are saying, that is long overdue for improving this facility and finally making it a worthy high school athletic facility, because it is something that the city has lacked for many, many years. So I'm glad. Normally speaking, I would look at a project where the scope and the cost of the project has gone upwards, and I'd look at that with dread normally, and this is a case where I look at it happily, because yes, it's a bigger project than we started with, but we're finally going to address a long-standing issue with it instead of just kicking it down the road, and we're finally going to build something that's worthy of this city.
Any other councilors?
Okay.
Councilor Sargent?
Thank you, Mr. President. I'll be brief and not repeat much of what was already been said, but me, as much as I like the athletics, I see this as another tool to keep our young people, and all our citizens for that matter, busy, out of trouble, away from some less healthy alternatives, and it's just another way to move forward with that. If they turn out to be good at the sport or activity they have, then that's all the better. Not everybody can be an all-star or a star, in fact, but the more people we can get involved and get out there competing, the more chance we have for them to succeed in the classroom and in life also. The other thing I'd like to talk about quickly is Paul LaRue. Not the name you used. But Paul LaRue has to spend hours trying to juggle around how to use those fields, how to keep them in shape, how to decide, and it's a terrible decision sometimes, who gets to use the field and who doesn't. Football gets to use it, first, and soccer. Then he's got to decide, between high school sports and youth sports. Sometimes lacrosse can play some of their home games, boys, and the girls team some other home games, and that's a tough decision to have to make. So if we add this new field along with the lights we already have, we can get everybody who wants to use that field to be able to use it, instead of now having all those rough spots that are worn out that he can never get grass to grow on. So, thank you.
Councilor O'Keefe, can you take a seat?
Councilor Lyon, Ward 4. Councilor Lyon.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just wanted to come down and say that I'm 100% in support of this. I think this is a benefit to the city. It brings pride to the city. I grew up, big family, like you said, 5. We had eight boys in my family, all played football for Coach Perone. And I was on that field when I was a little kid. I remember the only time I didn't run track in high school. I did basketball, football, baseball, and tennis. So I never did track, but I did run it when we had the Park Olympics. That was probably about like 30 years ago. But I think it's just a benefit, and if you're going to do it, you do it right. So it's one of these things where we're going to save money on maintenance costs. There's so many benefits. I just think this is something that will make the city a better place to live in. And I'm glad we're able to do it. And I also like to look down the road. I've talked with Coach Lavoie about somehow, when the high school project gets done, do like an indoor track. I mean, because that's the other thing, there's nothing indoor track. With Salem, with the running community, I think there's a lot. We can raise money like they did in Beverly to build a place. But right now, this outdoor track and the football field, I think it will be one of the best places, and there'll be more accessibility for these programs. Like there's more kids playing flag football, there's soccer, field hockey, and it goes on and on and on, lacrosse. And I think this is going to be a benefit to the city.
Thank you. Anyone else wish to speak on the matter? I'd like to apologize to Mr. LaRue because I misidentified him. I keep calling him Mr. Grabowski, and that should be an honor, because I remember him up there in the vocational education department and in the old school. I remember.
One other thing I was looking at Councilor Carr. I don't know if I ever sent him the picture, but I have a picture. My grandfather was the football doctor. He actually played football at Salem High when they probably built the high school in 1914, and then he went to medical school, became a doctor, and he was not the football, but he was the athletic doctor for like 40 years. And I have a picture, I want to say it was in the 40s, and it's at Bertram Field, and it shows my grandfather, his grandfather, who was the athletic director, and the coach, and it has all the people in the background. Just that one side, there must be like 2,000 or 3,000 people. It must have been a Thanksgiving, or it might have been a regular game. just the fact that the pride goes back that far and it's so connected, I think doing something like this is gonna make it even better, so.
Any other member of the city council wish to say anything? Councilor Ryan, right there, come on.
All right, so no further discussion. Madam City Clerk, can you please call the roll?
Counselor Turiel?
Yes.
Counselor Sisnowski?
Yes.
Counselor Siegel?
Yes.
Counselor Sargent?
Yes.
Counselor Prevey?
Yes.
Counselor McCarthy?
Yes.
Counselor Legault?
Yes.
Counselor O'Keefe?
Yes.
Counselor Fury?
Yes.
Counselor Carr?
Yes.
Counselor Ryan?
Yes. Thank you. Okay, on first passage of the bond order in the amount of $1.9 million for Bertram Field renovation project, 11 councilors voting, 11 in the affirmative. The matter carries for first passage. Council Preview?
Mr. President, I move for immediate reconsideration, hopes that it does not prevail.
Council Preview asks for immediate reconsideration and hopes it does not prevail. All those in favor? Opposed?
Opposed.
So moved. Council McCarthy.
I move for a 1-minute recess to allow.
McCarthy asks for a 1-minute recess. Any objection?
Thank you very much.
Thank you, my pleasure.
All right. Councilor O'Keefe, please take your seat.
I gotta get.
All right, council's back in session. Councilor McCarthy?
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that we take out of order committee reports, specifically mandatory recycling.
Page 11 at the bottom, my committee report. I need Councilor O'Keefe to come up, but let me just find my, any objection, actually?
Objection? I recognize Councilor Lyon.
Now, anyway.
Chairman of the committee.
All right. City Council, May 9, 2013, the Committee of the Whole, to whom was referred the matter of an ordinance amendment relative to solid waste mandatory recycling, has considered said matter and would recommend approval for first passage, adoption, adopted as amended.
All in favor of acceptance of the report of the Committee of the Whole? Remarks, Councilor?
All right, we had, this had come out of the last council meeting. We had it in there, and there was some questions about, you had some questions about making sure that trash gets picked up even if the recycle bin's not out there. The city solicitor went through it, made some changes. They also made some changes with the renters.
Siegel had some
Council
questions.
Siegel had talked about them getting fined and how to work around that. And then we decided to get it back out here so we can get it passed so we can be eligible for that, the grant. But I don't know if any other councilors have any discussion, or if you want to, Julie Rose is here also, if you want to suspend the rules.
Thank you, Councilor. Any member of the council wish to recognize this matter of recycling? All right. Hearing none?
Suspension of the rules to allow Julie to speak?
All right.
If she wants.
Anybody object to suspension of the rules? Hearing none. Julie Rose, would you come to the microphone, identify yourself, and for the audience at home, who you are, what you do?
My name's Julie Rose. I live at 25 Linden Street. I'm also the business manager in the engineering department. Well, thank you for allowing me to speak, and thank you for considering this ordinance change. As you know, we applied for a very competitive process about a year ago. We received a $50,000 grant, and in order to accept that, we do need an ordinance in place which would allow a fining structure. That's not the intent to fine people. The intent is for people to do mandatory recycling or to do recycling. Technically, recycling is mandatory if you think about it, because DEP has in place already a number of what they call, I can't even remember the name of it, but you cannot by law put paper or glass or plastic in your recycling. So technically, when our trash goes to the plant, they could actually fine us if there's recycling in there. So thank you for considering this.
Any members of the City Council wish to ask Ms. Rose any questions? No one? Hearing none? Thank you, Julie.
Thank you.
Now we'll act on the first pat. Councilor Ryan,
I don't know
remarks?
if we have to do, we need to do a roll call vote.
Roll call vote.
Okay.
City clerk said roll call vote?
No, we don't have to.
All right, all in favor? Opposed, so voted, unanimous.
Opposed, it's not unanimous.
Are you opposed?
Yes, sir.
All right.
Yes, sir.
Clerk will please record Councilor
The roll call.
opposed. After that, third opposed.
Thank you, Councilor O'Keefe. Councilor McCarthy. Councilor Sargent.
Thank you, Mr. President. I would like to see if I could take my Government Services Committee report out of order. I have a representative from Verizon Union here, and he's waited a while, and I'd like to ask for suspension of the rules to allow him to speak for a couple of minutes briefly.
Sure.
If that would be possible.
No objection, that's fine.
Thank you.
Report first.
Yeah, committee report on the Verizon issue. Right.
Committee
Yes,
report, go ahead.
yes, top of page 11 for following the agenda. Thank you, Mr. President. City of Salem, and City Council, May 9, 2013. The Committee on Government Services, co-posted with Committee of the Whole, to whom was referred the matter of the Verizon resolution, has considered said matter and would recommend approval.
Okay, on discussion.
Discussion, Mr. President, we had a committee meeting and unanimously voted approval of this for recommendation to the full council. And before I speak anymore, I'd like to ask for suspension of the rules to allow the business agent, Ed Starr, from International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers, who represents the Verizon workers, to just have a few moments to speak briefly.
Okay.
Thank
No
you.
objection? Say the podium and name and address.
Thank you. My name is Ed Starr. I'm the business manager of IBEW Local 2321. It's based out of North Andover on Turnpike Street. I represent all the Verizon workers in 43 communities in the Merrimack Valley and North Shore. Yes, please, if you, I'm not sure if that's the thing. I'm honored to come before you today and to get a brief moment of your time to talk about an issue where Verizon has decided to close 2 call centers located in Massachusetts. One's in Andover, Mass., and the other one is in Springfield, representing approximately 140 workers that have answered the telephone repair calls for the last 40 to 50 years for Massachusetts residents. These 2 centers have answered the repair calls for all the residents of Massachusetts. Verizon decided in January this year they're going to close these centers and move the work and the workers to Rhode Island. We just upgraded that center. I was away for 16 months in negotiations. We added new jobs for the communities to be hired into that center, and as well as to upgrade it to do the FiOS, so it's not the old copper landline center anymore. As soon as we brought some new jobs into the center, a week later they decided they're going to close them. It's purely economical. As part of our case on that, it's more to get people to downsize, to leave the business. It's 80 miles, 176 to 250 mile commute from where the people live, so the majority of them are going to quit. 2 families out of Salem, out of the 50 members in my local that live in Salem, 2 families are quitting. The lady that works in there is going to have to quit. Can't do the child care and commute. As you notice what I passed around, this has gotten a lot of attention at all levels of government, bipartisan support from all over the state, with the federal politicians in the state, as well as some of the New Hampshire political establishment has spoken out on this. Don't hardship your workers. Let's keep these jobs in the community and actually do some hiring. We've gone around as part of this push to speak to different towns and mayors, and some of them don't have anybody that's even living in that jurisdiction that's affected, but it's purely economical. If you've seen the resolution, it's not about a big union coming in crying that they're moving jobs. At least these people have a voice. I'm going town by town. I met with the mayor of Braintree yesterday. He's sending a letter to the mayor of Quincy. Again, they don't have anybody that's even affected that lives and works in one of those 2 centers, but it's more about trying to build and sustain jobs for this Commonwealth. I humbly ask for your support if you'd read the resolution. And again, it's actually not, Verizon's still decided, as much as we've done here, building up support, that they're still going to go through with it. So these people are looking to move, you know, and many of them are going to quit and sell their home and/or sell their homes by July 1st. So, but I do appreciate your time and I appreciate your support. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Council Sergeant.
Thank you, Ed, and thank you, Mr. President. I don't know, when you look at this, to me, it's a matter of fundamental fairness. You got a company that does business in this state. I don't know how many of us have Verizon phones, land phones, cell phones, etc., and spend our money with Verizon. I don't think it's unreasonable to ask them to keep jobs in Massachusetts. The other thing is, on the telecommunications end of it, the telephone poles and much, if not all, of the equipment that's on them and runs between them is tax-free. From the beginning of communication days, when it probably made sense to get that going, to a day when they could afford to pay taxes. They still don't, and we're still not pushing them to. So with that, just that thing of not having to pay taxes, that in itself makes it not unreasonable to ask them to keep these jobs in Massachusetts, so people don't have to choose between moving 150 miles away from where they live and leaving their family, or having to commute 3-4 hours total back and forth and not having to spend any time with their family. And just a quick note on this resolution. I mean, it has the support of 11 Massachusetts congressional congressmen. It has the governor, the state treasurer, the secretary of state, New Hampshire U.S. Senate, New Hampshire congressman, New Hampshire governor, 21 Massachusetts state senators, including our own Joan Lovely, and 52 members of the House of Representatives, including our own John Keenan. So with that, I ask for your support in this resolution. Thank you.
Councilor O'Keefe.
Mr. Chairman, can I ask a question of the representative from Life and Work?
She's telling him.
Unanimous consent of the council.
Yeah, come to the podium.
Sir, could you come up so I could ask you a question?
Okay.
Members of the council. I recall as a young man years ago, the phone company had an installation on Franklin Street. And they had all the phone trucks there and maintenance and what have you, and they were little small trucks with ladders on the top and whatever. Then I'm up in Peabody. So that whole organization by the shopping center is going to Rhode Island?
This center in general is in, this one's in Andover and one's in Springfield, Mass. Those locations you're talking about have closed down. In fact, the central office is right over here as well. They used to employ thousands of operators, and that is closed down. So
And my
there's
daughter
only
was
2
an
people in
operator.
that building now.
But it's like a vacant building over
Yes.
there. You look in, there's hardly anybody in there, but...
I know the state rep, Keenan and stuff, has asked to put jobs in there.
So under this proposal, when there's a storm, or what have you, where are the workers gonna come to replace the service? And
They're gonna either have to quit the company or move to Rhode Island to do the same services, you know.
they're gonna back from Rhode Island to fix the cables and wires?
These are call center workers that work
But I
in the
mean,
center.
call center, I mean, they've gotta come back. That doesn't, it's not fair.
No, Councilor O'Keefe, what he's saying, the actual workers are still up here. It's the people that are answering the calls and taking in.
Well, I know what that the call centers, eh?
Thank you.
Sometimes you get a real person at the end of the phone. Sometimes you have to listen to the machine endlessly tell you what's...
Lucky it's not going to India.
Yes,
I
thank you.
wholeheartedly
Majority-
support you.
50% of the calls do go, and that's why we thought we did a good thing negotiating jobs this time. Thank you.
Further discussion?
Move the question.
All right.
Unanimous resolution.
Is that regular
Great
vote,
legislation.
roll call vote? Want to do,
Actually, I'd like to ask for a roll call vote, please.
okay, 3 hands? We got 3 hands. Wait for the city clerk. Madam City Clerk, please call the roll.
Counselor Turrio?
Yes.
Counselor Sosnowski?
Yes.
Counselor Siegel?
Yes.
Counselor Sargent?
Yes.
Counselor Creevy?
Yes.
Counselor McCarthy?
Yes.
Counselor Legault?
Yes.
Counselor O'Keefe?
Yes.
Counselor Fury?
Yes.
Counselor Carr?
Yes.
Counselor Ryan?
Yes. On this committee reports, I don't even think I accepted the report, so. What? On acceptance of the report, all those in favor, opposed? On adoption of the recommendation, we already did on discussion. We're doing roll call vote for the Verizon resolution. We have 11 councilors voting, 11 in the affirmative, none in the negative. The resolution carries.
Mr. President, ask that we please move back to the regular agenda.
Okay, we're going back to the regular part of the agenda, which is page 5, communications from the mayor, second one.
We have an appropriation of $19,055.76 from Retirement Stabilization Vacation Sick Leave Buyback Account to be expended for the retirement buyback of William J. Consoni, Jr. of the School Department.
Council Prevey,
Thank you, Mr. President. I move for suspension of the rules.
any objection on being, Council Prevey?
I also move for adoption.
Council Prevey moves for adoption and discussion.
This is obviously contractual. The gentleman's retiring, and he's entitled to, obviously, his vacation, sick leave buyback. And so this is the figure that the Finance Department has calculated and submitted. It's been reviewed already through Human Resources, so I would just ask for adoption, just so we can get this gentleman his money that he's entitled to under the contract. Thank you.
Any further discussion? All those in favor, opposed, so moved. Further communications from the
We
mayor.
have an appropriation of $10,000 from Receipts Reserve Golf Course Account to Golf Course Rental and Lease Line Account.
Council Prevey,
Thank you, Mr. President. I move for suspension of the rules.
any objection on being, Council Prevey?
I also move for adoption.
Council Prevey moves for adoption, any discussion?
Mr. President, the additional money, and this goes because a line item with the golf course was depleted, and that has to do with the contract that we had with Country Club Enterprises. We have an arrangement with them in terms of to receive 30% of the revenues that we get, and things being what they are at the golf course in terms of revenues now being much higher, that actually ends up being a benefit also to the contractor as well. But when we sat down and did the numbers last year under the budget, we only appropriated a certain amount of money, which obviously we've fallen short because we didn't anticipate after we did the calculus that we would come up with this figure. So the Park and Rec Director is asking for the additional money just to cover those costs between now and then the end of the fiscal year. And then obviously we'll certainly take a look at what the revenues are with the golf course when we have the budget coming up in May and June.
That means that more people are golfing?
Yes, looks like it. And we're getting more money out of it too, so.
Any further discussion? None being, all those in favor, opposed, so moved. Further communications from the mayor.
We have an appropriation of $2,500 from capital outlay renovation and repair account to be expended for the repair of parking meter poles by the parking department.
Council Prevey.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move for suspension of the rules.
Any objection? None being, Council Prevey.
I move for adoption.
Under discussion.
The amount that's being requested to be appropriated, the $2,500, comes through the parking department, and that is so we can go about and do some repairs that are needed for a lot of the parking meters that were damaged over the winter with snow plows hitting them, and I would imagine cars and things of that nature. So they assess the damage. Obviously, they've identified which meters need to be fixed, and that's the amount of money that they're asking for to cover that cost.
Thank you. Any further discussion, Council Sergeant?
Thank you, Mr. President. Being a liaison to the board, Mr. Hacker asked me if we could do this tonight also. 2 weeks sooner means 2 weeks more revenue from the meters, and he was looking forward to that to help pay for the repairs. Thank you.
Further discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? So moved. Further communications from the mayor.
We have a transfer of $1,706 to the purchasing fixed cost telephone line account from accounts listed below.
Council Prevey.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move for suspension of the rules.
Any objection? None being, Council Prevey.
I also move for adoption.
On discussion.
It's pretty self-explanatory. It's just the lines for the fixed cost telephone. The different services we have under that have been pretty much depleted, and we need a little extra to get us to the end of the fiscal year. So I'd ask for support of that. Thank you.
Any further discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Further communications from the mayor.
It's to accept a donation of $5,000 from the GE Employees Good Neighbor Fund for the Salem Police Department Summer Camp Fund.
Council Prevey.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move for adoption.
On discussion.
Want to thank the folks at the GE Employees Good Neighbor Fund for their generous donation. $5,000 is certainly something that is nothing to sneeze at, and we certainly appreciate their generosity. As we know, as we've gone through week after week in terms of council meetings, we've got many donations for the summer camp, and that's what really makes it work. So we're certainly very appreciative to GE as well as all the other folks that have donated so generously to this to the summer camp. So we want to thank them.
Thank you. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? So moved. Further communications from the mayor.
The mayor submitting the fiscal year 2014 capital improvement plan for 2013 through 2017.
Council Prevey.
Thank you, Mr. President. I make a motion to refer this to Committee on Administration and Finance.
On discussion.
As you know, Mr. President, we are entering budget season pretty soon. The Finance Department with the Mayor's Office and all the department heads are or have submitted their budgets actually to the mayor. It's being put together. This is one of the first elements to that budget proposal that's coming before the council. So I'd ask that this go to committee, and then obviously when we take up the budget, when we actually start having the budget meetings, we'll take a look at that too, and then that's something that the finance director as well as the mayor can make a presentation on.
Can we co-post with the committee of the whole in case one of the other members not a member of finance? Question.
Yes, we can co-post it because I believe in the past we've done so with the budget meetings as well. Just to make sure if other councilors wanted to participate in those discussions, they're able to do so. So I would make a motion that it be referred to Committee on Administration and Finance, co-posted with Committee of the Whole.
Okay, thanks. Any other further discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? So moved. Mayor's informational page, none. Motions, orders, and resolutions. Council Prevey.
Thank you, Mr. President. City of Salem City Council, May 9, 2013, ordered that the monthly financial report dated March 31st, 2013, be referred to the Committee on Administration and Finance.
Okay, any discussion?
No discussion.
All those in favor, opposed, so moved. Further motions, orders, and resolutions. Council Turiel.
Thank you, Mr. President. City of Salem, year 2013, ordinance to amend an ordinance relative to traffic, Chapter 42, Section 50B, handicap zones, limited time. Ordained by the City Council of the City of Salem as follows. Section 1, Geneva Street in front of number 1 for a distance of 20 feet, handicap parking tow zone. Section 2, this ordinance shall take effect as provided by city charter.
Discussion.
This is just for a resident who can simply no longer walk the distances required to park otherwise.
Okay, thank you. All those in favor, opposed, so moved. Further motions, orders, and resolutions. Council Turiel.
Thank you, Mr. President. City of Salem, year 2013, ordinance to amend ordinance relative to traffic, Chapter 42, Section 50B, handicap zones, limited time, ordained by the City Council of the City of Salem as follows. Section 1, Summit Avenue, westerly side starting at a point 20 feet from Leach Street and continuing in a southerly direction for 20 feet, handicap parking tow zone. Section 2, this ordinance shall take effect as provided by city charter.
On discussion.
Thank you, Mr. President. This is actually for a resident on Leach Street, but the side of Leach Street that they are on is itself a no parking side of the street. So we had to put the spot on Summit Ave at the closest location instead.
It's got the approval of the police department?
Yep.
Okay, thanks. Any further discussion? All those in favor, opposed, so moved. Further motions, orders, and resolutions. Council Sosnowski.
Thank you, Mr. President. City of Salem and City Council, May 9, 2013, ordered that the Committee on Ordinances, Licenses, and Legal Affairs, co-posted with the Committee of the Whole, meet to review the zoning requirements for paving or repaving on new developments or redevelopments as it pertains to LID, low-impact development. This is to help control our stormwater issues that cause citywide flood concerns, and that the following be invited: the building inspector or his representative, city planner, city engineer, Department of Public Services Director, Salem Sound Coast Watch, Senator Joan Lovely, and Representative John Keenan.
On discussion.
Thank you, Mr. President. Yeah, basically, most of us were at that meeting the other day over in Peabody at the Trigian Center. All right, and we saw a lot of situations that are really coming back to haunt us. And basically, I remember 6 or 7 years ago, I think it was Councilor Pelletier, tried to bring this in once, and I'm not sure where it went at that point. And I'm not even sure that we can do anything necessarily with this particular part, but we have a lot of huge paved surfaces in our city. And most of these things, as they get repaved, we need to think about not having a impervious surface. We need to think about something that would help absorb water rather than have it, flow into the storm drains and cause flooding issues where people take personal losses and everything. So I'm not sure where we are with this. I'm not sure what we have, but I want to review it. I want to see if maybe Councilor Pelletier at the time was able to get anything done. And if not, let's see what we can do, because, we're pretty much developed here, but at the same time, anything that we can do, any little piece, it's better than sticking our head in the sand and saying it's somebody else's problem. So I wanted to go down that road and see where we are. And if there is something we can do, it'll come out during these meetings. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further, Councilor Prevey?
Thank you, Mr. President. I want to thank Councilor Sosnowski for bringing this in because this was something that was on my mind as well, and for the rest of us that attended. And as he said, most of us did attend the breakfast the other day at the Teresian Center with some of our counterparts over in Peabody because of the flooding issues over there. Mayor Betancourt was there as well as John Keenan and Senator Lovely. And it is an issue which obviously we look at now. We've done so much damage in terms of when you talk about urban development and the impervious surfaces that have used to build parking lots and buildings, whether it's the North Shore Shopping Center, Centennial Park, all these developments in over a period of time. We've kind of put ourselves in a situation now where kind of wreaking the ill effects of what happens when you do that without any type of looking down the road and trying to see, what are we going to be putting ourselves into? And now we've been struggling with these flooding issues, and they're only going to get worse if we don't abate them somehow and we don't do something about it. And so one of the things that Barbara Warren, when she was making the presentation, was saying that it's hard to do stuff right now with the things we already have there. We're not going to be going around ripping up buildings and parking lots, but we have to start somewhere. And by looking at changing our zoning and implementing something requiring developers to use the types of surfaces that allow water to drain, allow it to flow naturally, and not build up and run into our streets and then flood our towns and flood our city streets, that's what we have to do, but we got to start somewhere. And what she said is, it's going to start with us. I mean, it's going to happen on a local area. We got to work with our partners in the other communities, whether we talk about Peabody or Beverly, but we have to start somewhere. We can't just sit back and wait for someone else to pull the trigger, either at the State House or the federal government. We're supposed to be controlling our own destiny, and it's really our problem. It's, flooding in Peabody, and it's coming into Salem now. And we've got all this development that's going on in Ward 6. It's going to affect Ward 6, Ward 4, Ward 2, Ward 3, and we're going to be feeling the ill effects. I mean, you look at Peabody and you have all this compassion for the people, but we're not too far off from what they're experiencing, what's going to happen with us. So, I think now's the time to start doing something, looking at what we can do, as opposed to just sitting back and waiting and wondering if someone else is going to do it. So I want to thank Councilor Sosnowski for that. Thank you.
Councilor Sosnowski, did you include the planning department? I didn't know. I was thinking when you were saying that maybe we should include the planning board, because they're the ones, when these developers come in front, they're the ones that are going to be making, telling them what to do. I don't know if that's
If I didn't, I have no problem adding that.
Well, the planning, maybe the planning department, Len Duncan, and we don't have to have the whole planning board, but maybe.
Well, a representative from
from planning,
right,
yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, it's good because like Councilor Prevey was saying, we've been going to these meetings now for 10 years, at least 10 years on this particular issue. And I remember going to a meeting over in, I think it was Warren Street, down at the Water Department in Peabody, and listening to the Peabody director tell us at the time, oh no, you don't have to worry about it. Phase 1 and Phase 2 will have no impact for Salem. Now it's really encouraging to hear that they're finally starting to address the idea that, yeah, what they're going to do in Phase 1 and Phase 2 is in fact going to come down to us. All right, so even though that's not part of this particular thing, it was also encouraging to hear that, because now they're acknowledging that earlier comments were not necessarily that accurate. So it's good. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Okay. None being, all those in favor? Opposed? So moved. Further motions, orders, and resolutions. Council Fury.
President, fellow members, please. In the City Council, May 9th, 2013, ordered that the Committee of the Whole meet to discuss voting for 2 City Council members on the Community Preservation Committee. I had the privilege and pleasure of leading the charge twice for the Community Preservation Act, and fortunately succeeded in the last election. Now it's our role and responsibility as the City Council to appoint 2 members to that board, and we need to have a Committee of the Whole meeting to discuss who those members will be, Mr. President.
Thank you. I asked Councilor Fury to bring this in because we need to vote the 2 members, and I guess the mechanism to get this out in the committee, and then we'll go from there. So, no discussion because he brought in after the thing. We'll discuss it in the committee. All those in favor? Opposed? Any further motions, orders, and resolutions? Committee reports. Councilor Sosnowski.
Thank you, Mr. President. City of Salem and City Council, May 9, 2013. The Committee on Ordinances, License, and Legal Affairs, to whom was referred the matter of the taxi operator hearing for Eddie Mendez on the denial of his taxi operator license, has considered said matter and would recommend that his license be granted.
On acceptance of the report, all those in favor? Opposed? On adoption of the recommendation, on discussion?
Most of the details were held in executive session, so I really can't discuss this, but the end result was that we after consideration of all the details, we decided we would give him a chance.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
All those in favor? Opposed? Opposed. 1 opposed. Councilor Legault. Mark is opposed. Further committee reports. Councilor Prevey.
Thank you, Mr. President. City of Salem and City Council, May 9th, 2013. The Committee on Administration and Finance, co-posted with Committee of the Whole, to whom was referred the matter of the mayor's compensation, has considered said matter and would recommend that the mayor's salary be increased to $105,000 annually.
Just, hold on. On acceptance of the report, all those in favor? Opposed? On adoption recommendation, under discussion.
Thank you, Mr. President. We had two committee meetings actually on this issue. We had one number of weeks ago. We were provided with information from Lisa Camerata, the Human Resources Director, relative to other cities in town, or cities, you know, if they have a mayor, it'd be cities that they would have a mayor with a salary, and just tried to look at the comparisons in terms of the salary numbers. So one of the things that we wanted to do is take a look at that. We did. We had a discussion about how to make sure that the mayor's compensation doesn't become stagnant at all. And so that's one of the things that we talked about. We talked about raising it. So a proposal was made for it to go up to $105,000. Now, there's another issue that we have to deal with, and that ends up being that the salary is based upon city ordinance. And so for us to actually have the salary to go into effect, we have to do an ordinance change for that to occur. So that's one of the things that I think we have to look at in terms of having this go into committee on
COLA.
Yeah, COLA. So with that, I guess I would make a motion that we do that, and then that way we can obviously, it'll leave obviously administration and finance and go into COLA, and then we'll have a meeting on that to look at the actual ordinance and then make whatever changes, because we have a lot of ideas about how to change the ordinance to make sure that it doesn't become just a set figure and then years go by and nothing occurs, but perhaps look at putting in some type of percentage increase or putting in some type of escalator. But we obviously have more work to do on it, and that's work that we can do it in Committee on Ordinances, License and Legal Affairs, and we'll let Councilor Sosnowski handle it then. So that will be my motion as well.
Okay. Further discussion, Councilor Fury.
Mr. President, fellow members, I'm very glad, thank you, Mr. Chairman, for making this all possible. Clearly, we need to respect and recognize the role and responsibility of the mayor. He or she is the chief executive of the mayor, chairman of the school committee. I was serving on the school committee for 12 years, just being on the school committee alone, chairman of the school committee, just people sitting in that school committee chambers. You have the superintendent of schools making more money than her, director of buildings and grounds, director of human services, making more money than the mayor. We have the director of public works, and under our administration, under ours, making more money than the mayor. I think this is a step in the right direction, a clear clarion call for making it a professional position. Public service is a form of patriotism. Sometimes we need to compensate that situation to allow the best and brightest to run their families and obligations like all of us have. So I think this is a step in the right direction, and I appreciate the chairman of the Administration and Finance in his progress to $5,000. I wish it was more.
Thank you. Any further discussion?
This is going,
All right, so
just clarify, it's going to COLA now?
it's the recommended increase in the mayor's salary to $105,000, and now we're going to move this. He wants to move it to Committee on Ordinance, License, and Legal Affairs, so they can go over the ordinance and take care of any other issues that need to be done. Then we'll come back up. Councilor Sosnowski.
Just co-posted, please.
Co-posted with the Committee of the Whole? Is that fine? Well, yeah.
Yes.
You're bringing it
Yep.
up, so, yeah.
Well, that'll be part of my motion as well.
Okay. So what it is to make the motion of the mayor's salary $105,000, send it to the Committee on Ordinance, License, and Legal Affairs, co-post with the Committee of the Whole. Any further discussion? Okay. All those in favor? Opposed? So moved. Further committee reports. Council Prevey.
Thank you, Mr. President. City of Salem, the City Council, May 9, 2013. Committee on Administration and Finance, co-posted with the Committee of the Whole, to whom was referred the matter of the compensation for school committee members, has considered said matter and would recommend that members of the school committee receive a increase in their, they have a stipend to $4,000, and also that this matter be referred to Committee on Ordinances, Licenses, and Legal Affairs, co-posted, really to do the same thing that we are going to do relative to the proposal for the mayor's compensation as well. We have to look at the city ordinance in terms of compensation for the school committee, see if it's something that we want to tie it to. Any increases that the mayor gets, our increase is obviously tied to the mayor's increase as well in our salary. So we had one of the school committee members here this evening, Janet Crane, who's been on the school committee for a number of years, And one of the things that she underscored in her presentation to us is that the school committee has not received any type of financial increase prior to 2 years ago in 21 years. So it just seems like it's completely out of whack where you have an expectation that members of the school committee are going to work very diligently. And obviously, it's all done by public service. That's what people are motivated for. No one gets into this, whether it's us or whether it's members of the school committee, because of the money, because the money just, I mean, it's really nothing at the end of the day. But it helps to kind of compensate us for some of the costs that we do incur going about doing our business. We're using our, free time. We're trying to be dedicated, and sometimes it does help just to get some type of financial compensation, and that I think is very appropriate. So, and I don't see why, and neither did members of the committee during our discussion, did not see why members of the school committee and the hours that they put in, the work that they put in, that they shouldn't be compensated as well. In some respects, that seems to be legitimate in recognition for the work that they put in. So that's my motion.
Okay, on acceptance of the report, all those in favor? Opposed? On adoption of the recommendation, further discussion, Council Fury.
Yes, please. Mr. President, fellow members, I had the privilege and fellowship of serving on the school committee for 12 years, and Dr. Crane was in the chambers tonight to talk about the issue. Just on one issue, the Sports Hall of Fame at Salem High School, that Dr. Crane is the chairperson of the policies. She spent countless hours. I went to 4 school committee meetings, 4 subcommittee meetings, just to go follow that process through the change in the Sports Hall of Fame. We talked about Connie Crean being nominated tonight to the Hall of Fame. In the track situation we talked about at Bertram Field, we talked about Kenny Perone tonight. That wasn't done overnight. It was done by countless hours of perseverance and patience on one issue by Dr. Crane and the committee and the whole school committee itself, whether it's Bertram Field, educational issues, picking the superintendent of schools. It's critical that we recognize and respect their role and responsibility. I'm very glad that the Chairman of Administration and Finance, Councilor Prevey, and the committee itself moved to this solution. It's positive, proactive for the future. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Okay, on motion to increase the school committee stipend to $4,000, send it to the Committee on Ordinance, License, and Legal Affairs, co-post with the committee of the whole. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? So moved. Further committee reports. Councilor Sargent.
Thank you, Mr. President. City of Salem and City Council, May 9, 2013. The Committee on Government Services, to whom was referred the matter of the installation of pedestrian lights on Bridge Street, has considered said matter and would recommend that the city engineer work with the traffic consultant to come up with a plan to make this crossing as safe as possible, and also follow existing state and federal laws pertaining to crosswalks also in that discussion.
On acceptance of the report, all those in favor? Opposed? On adoption recommendation, on discussion.
Yeah, we had a committee meeting, and city engineer Dave Knowlton was in with a traffic consultant, and that's the sticking point. The old lights, we all feel worked better. They went from yellow and then turned red, and come to find out that where they're located is too close to 2 side streets. So in order to go back to those kind of lights, you would have to light the 2 side streets also, which makes it real difficult. And so we've asked them to, to move forward with a legal plan to make that pedestrian light safer. Because as Councilor Sosnowski has brought forward many times, it just starts blinking yellow. And the drivers in this country are trained to see a red coming after the yellow, and it never comes. And in some cases, they never stop. So we had the school committee members in here and the principal of Carlton School in here, and we just have to keep moving forward to try and work and make this safer. So it'll remain in committee, and while they're doing that study. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Councilor Sosnowski.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. Yeah, this is, like Councilor Sargent said, this is a very important matter to me. It's the safety of the kids that are crossing the street there, that are not just during school times, by the way, but also at any time of the day trying to cross the street. I mean, our city engineer's hands are pretty much tied by federal regulations of the MUTCD, the Manual of Uniform Traffic Control Devices. All right, and basically, he was unable to put in what I've asked for a couple of years now. All right, but that being said, we had Gary, I can't remember his last name, but a certified traffic engineer, licensed with the state. He came in, gave us the advice, he did the interpretation of what federal law requires, and we talked about several options. Basically, they're going to come back with something that's going to be a whole lot better than what is currently there, and then we'll see where that goes, because we were under a timeline. We wanted him to do that ASAP. I'm hoping that whatever happens, we'll have it up in place. I don't think in the real sense we'll have it in place by the end of this particular school year, even though, like I just said, it's for other times of the day as well. But I'd like to certainly make sure that it's in place by September 1st when school starts. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? So moved. Communications from city officials, none. Petitions.
We have a request from Kim Emmerling, Veterans Agent, to name a Veterans Square after Private First Class Vincent Louis Anceloni to be located at the intersection of Norman and Crombie Streets.
Councilor Sosnowski.
Thank you, Mr. President. This is a very, very touching point because, number one, as the Veterans Liaison, and also as a former Marine myself, we're talking about a Marine Corps person here, Private First Class Vincent Louis Anceloni. He served his country. He came from Salem. He did a lot of things here in Salem, and he never graduated. He went off to the service, and unfortunately in the Marshall Islands, and specifically in Guam, he made the ultimate sacrifice. Toward that end, I'd like to honor him. He still has a living sister, by the way, here, living in the city. I'm trying to find the name here. And the husband also served in World War II. It's just a proper honoring of a Salem veteran, and it's absolutely a place that I would thoroughly endorse, and I would move for adoption. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Sosnowski. Any further discussion? Okay. All those in favor? Opposed? So moved. Further petitions.
We have license applications, secondhand valuable and tag days.
Councilor Sosnowski.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that these matters be referred to the Committee on Ordinances, Licenses, and Legal Affairs.
Any discussion?
No discussion.
All those in favor? Opposed? So moved. Further petitions.
We have public guides, taxi operator, and vehicle for hire operators only.
Councilor Sosnowski.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that all these matters be granted.
Okay. Any discussion?
No discussion, Mr. President.
All those in favor? Opposed? So moved. Further petitions.
We have one drain layer contract operator license.
Councilor Sosnowski.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that this matter be granted.
Any discussion?
No discussion, Mr.
All those in
President.
favor? Opposed? So moved. Further petitions.
We have 3 claims.
Councilor Sosnowski.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that these matters be referred to the Committee on Ordinances, Licenses, and Legal Affairs.
Any discussion?
No discussion.
Discussion. All those in favor? Opposed? So moved. Further petitions.
We have 1 constable bond and 1 drain layer bond.
Councilor Sosnowski.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that these matters be referred to the Committee on Ordinances, Licenses, and Legal Affairs and returned to approved.
Discussion.
No discussion.
All those in favor? Opposed? So moved. Unfinished business.
We have second passage of an ordinance amending traffic, Chapter 42, Section 50B, handicap parking, limited time, Laurel Street.
Councilor Sosnowski?
Well,
Or is it Councilor?
Actually, this is Councilor Chorio.
Yeah,
Sure,
these
yeah.
are both mine.
Yeah.
No discussion.
No discussion. All those in favor? Opposed? So moved. Further unfinished business.
We have second passage of an ordinance amending Chapter 42, Section 75, repeal Bellow Road from Zone B and West Circle and Zone B and insert and place Zone E, color red, on both Bellow Road and West Circle.
Councilor Turiel.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just, as a note before we do this, I spoke to and several of you spoke to one resident who was very unhappy with this. I also spoke to many of that resident's neighbors who were also all perfectly fine with it. So, no further discussion.
Councilor Pierre.
Yes, please. I spoke to Councilor O'Keefe on this issue, because I live, and I spoke to Councilor Turiel on this issue, and I lived in Ward 5, and I think Ward 5 and 7 have a great association, indeed. And I think I would prefer myself, I have reservations about voting for this entirely. I believe that if it went to the neighborhood meeting of the Ward 5-7 Association, talked about it, I think I would feel more positive about voting positively for this. So I'll be voting opposed to this now because it hasn't gone to the a neighborhood meeting. I can remember another Ward 5 councilor bringing up an issue about Forest Street and about boats going up and down Forest Street, and the people on Forest Street were never really fully informed. Even former Councilor Matt Vino came on the issue saying that should have been brought up to the neighborhood situation. So I have reservations about, maybe there was one loud person calling, a couple of you, but I have reservations, so I'll be voting opposed.
Councilor O'Keefe.
Through you, Mr. President. Gentlemen of the council, I want to clarify my discussion with Councilor Fury about this matter. I agree with Councilor Jurel on this matter, and I spoke to the woman on Bellow Road about this issue and told her that I was in fact the person that instituted the special resident parking for Salem State students, and I don't think she really appreciated that, that I was the culprit that had this good legislation. So I support Councilor Jurel on this matter, and I think we should move forward on it. It's his recommendation. He looked into it, and we should back him up.
Okay, any further discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Let the record show, Councilor Fury wants to be recorded as opposed. And Councilor O'Keefe.
Move for adjournment.
Councilor O'Keefe moves for adjournment. All those in favor? Opposed? Meeting is adjourned.